When I was turning 40, which I was extremely unhappy about doing, I must say, I began to feel that something was missing from my life. I was very busy. I had an extremely intense, high powered job. And I had two young children who were also very busy, and a spouse with a big job as well. And our household was largely chaotic, and I had no free time. But I nevertheless felt that I was not expressing myself creatively as I ought to be. And I'd always wanted to be a writer. But of course, life had gotten very busy in the intervening years. And so in the run up to 40, I decided that instead of doing what lots of other people were doing, running marathons and various other athletic activities, which I'm not interested in doing, that I would set aside 3 hours a week and get a babysitter and devote myself in that short window of time each week to writing. And for 18 months, I labored away, never missing a week. And at the end of 18 months, I had a manuscript. And I gave it to a few friends to read, and they said, you know, Kate, this is actually pretty good. It's not ready yet, but you should keep going. And so I did, and I kept going, and another 18 months went by. And at the end of that time, I had a manuscript that I actually felt was quite good, and I gave it to some other people to read, new people, and they said, this is a real book. You should try to get it published. And so I selected 15 or so agents around the world who I thought were absolutely the perfect people who would fall in love with my manuscript and it would fit perfectly on their lists. And I sent it off with a lovely tailored query letter, and nothing came back. It was an abysmal failure. No one wanted my book. And I was very crushed. And I put my book away in a drawer and I thought, well, okay, that was my midlife experiment and now it's over. But it sat in a drawer for 6 months, sort of vibrating possibility and incompletion, and it drove me crazy. And after about 6 months, I pulled it out and I read it from beginning to end with fresh eyes. And at the end of that read through, I thought, I like this book. And in fact, I've written a book that I want to read, and I think other people will want to read it too. And so I set about trying to figure out how to self-publish it, largely because I didn't feel like going through the pain of submitting it and being rejected again. And so for 4 months, I taught myself everything I could find on the internet about self-publishing, and I learned how to generate a social media presence, and I built a website, and I made friends with book bloggers and all kinds of other people. And then I launched my book on Amazon for Mother's Day in 2013. And the most astonishing thing happened, which is that the book was an overnight internet success, and it had 14,000 downloads in about 3 weeks. And as a result of that, I immediately acquired an agent, and the agent sold the book within a week. And 3 months after that, the book actually came out in paper. And 3 months after that, Walmart called and said we'd like it to be our read of the month. And then it was on the bestseller list for 11 weeks. And then I got a 2-book deal in the US. And all of this time, you know, every single thing that happened felt like the most exciting thing that had ever happened. And I enjoyed every single one of those successes. And I think I enjoyed those successes so much more because they were really colored by so much failure underlying them. Since that time, I've been called upon to speak quite often to groups of women in particular, but also aspiring writers. And one of the things that I talk about a lot is luck. And I think that luck actually goes by a few other names, like timing and talent and being in the right place, but also things, more mundane things like leveraging your social network. I think a lot of people that we think of as lucky are people who worked hard and kept in touch with their friends and asked for help when they needed it and failed a lot and got up and tried again. Most lucky people I've met are exactly like that.